The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
What is up, beautiful people of LA? Welcome to this week's episode of Heart of LAFC. With episode number 177, we're going to be calling this one Rings, Wins, and Wings. Because on the weekend, we got to see our beautiful Rings. We got another win, and the team will be on the flight soon to Costa Rica for our next CCL games. Unfortunately, Joseph won't be here tonight because he's actually in Costa Rica already. Going to go relax and spend some family time. But with me tonight, we got Araceli and Tony. Araceli, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm actually doing really well. Kind of recovering from a long weekend, but hey, it's CCL week. I'm excited.
It is. There was some big games on over the weekend, and us getting our first game of the season out of the way was really, really good. We got into all that kind of stuff. Tony, how are you today?
Tired, unprepared, still, if you notice this mess, still getting this mess. Again, didn't know we were doing a pod today until I realized our Twitter announcement went, oh, Sunday Fun Day from Araceli. Huh? Checking the sec. We have a pod today? Fudge. I'm not even right. So I'm in a janky Quana setup, so excuse my room and everything, but doing pretty well. Happy for the win, excited for Costa Rica, and excited for the next Sunday game.
Exactly. Like I did admit I did throw it on you a little bit. It was mainly because this is the only day that I could do it between now and our next game. So I thought, we'll just get it done quickly, get it all up there as we go. Excuse me. Now, let's all talk about all the fun stuff that happened before the game this weekend. You know, we finally got to see our banner up and above and the rings out there for the players. Tony, what was the ceremony like for the banner raising and all the pre-game stuff?
It was honestly very chilling. Like, it gave me chills throughout the body. It was intention. I didn't notice the banners on the top until later on, until I look over and I was like, oh, there's some banners up there, because if you were there for the preseason game, you didn't know when it was going to come in and when, like, where did it go and everything like that. So it was just chills. It was they've done everything really well. Like I said, most people that I talked to are getting chills rewatching like the highlights and like the unveiling and everything like that. For the rings, $400. That's all I have to say. Or $500. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I did before when they announced there was going to be Baron doing the rings. I had a look at their website, looked at the ones done in the past, and saw that they'd done Columbus Crew in 2020. So I was like, oh, awesome! I'll go have a look at their pricing, and we should get some around those pricing. There was some for as low as 80, some for as much as 6,000. So the 80 to 150, 200, yeah, I could justify that. 500 US at the moment. That's about what was that, about 900 Australian. It's like a little bit steep at the moment, but we'll see what happens during the year. Maybe they might have a Black Friday sale with some still going on there, but we'll see what they have. I do have to say, the rings that the players all got do look absolutely magnificent. The little Forza Mo in there, all the little details actually come out really well that they went through. Araceli, what are your thoughts on the rings?
Oh, I thought the rings were absolutely gorgeous. I have to admit, I was a little thrown off when I first seen them, because when you think of a championship ring, you kind of think of the standard, silver band with the white diamonds. To see it with black diamonds, a black band, it was a little surprising at first, but after looking at like all the intricate details, it was great. Am I gonna buy one? I don't see myself doing that, unfortunately, but just looking at all the clips from the ring ceremony, it looked like a great time.
Yeah, it really did look like a great time. Like, lucky enough, I was happy, and I was a bit worried that they wouldn't do it, but Apple TV actually showed all that. So seeing all that kind of stuff actually made me like Apple TV MLS Season Pass a lot more, because I didn't expect for them to show that. I thought, cool, a little pre-game thing, that's about it, and then they'll all be off and running. So for me, it was good. It was amazing. It was really well done. Obviously, some stuff we didn't get to see. We didn't see Ollie fly around, but it was good to see that Ollie was back there. The tifo that the 3052 did, the reason why Tony and Joseph was on the last episode with us for the whole lot was amazing. And to the 3052, everyone that was involved in that tifo, you guys did an amazing job. And that is the reason why you should get your 3052 membership paid up. Do that. That is exactly what your money goes towards. So I know I harped on about this last episode, but this time, make sure that this is what it's going for. So if you do have it around, make sure you sign up for your 3052 membership and put down which group you're with. If you're not with any group, that's fine. You don't have to put one down, but when you put down your group that you're part of, make sure that those numbers stay strong. Make sure that that group stays inside the 3052. Moving on to the match itself, it was a really good match. The lineups were as such. For us, we went with McCarthy and gold, obviously. Our backline was Hollingshead, Murillo, Chiellini, and Palacios. Midfield was the three midfield that there should be Sifu, Sanchez, and Acosta. And up front, we had Opoku, Vela, and Buwanga. For Portland, they had Bingham in gold, Rasmussen, McCaw, Zuprich, and Mosquera in the defense. Chara and Williamson, Loria, Ferreira, and Marino in the midfield, and there's Goda up top. Match highlights. I'm going to throw this to Tony. What were your highlights from the match?
Honestly, it was pretty much like as everyone sees the scoreline. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, because that's one gripe that we've been talking about. Let's just get this out of the way for Apple TV is the scoreline. Right when you see it, you see the scoreline, so you don't even get the mystery of how LAFC does, which is good and bad in a certain way. But it was a 3-2. It was a 3-2 win for Portland. It was a good 60 minutes, and I mean good 60 minutes. We were dominating. The defense was pretty much doing really well up until pretty much when Chiellini got subbed out, and also Portland decided to sub in three of their players, and then after that, kind of the defense fell apart. The highlights, of course, were the goals by Chiellini, Vela, and Opoku. So again, that was pretty much the whole highlights of it. Again, there was some goals that were kind of suspect on the defense, and also one goal where, unfortunately, McCarthy went aggressive, and which was the right move as a former goalkeeper and defender. It was the right move, but he went in too weak and just tried to palm it out instead of punch it out. And then they gave him an attack where the goal was pretty much open with even the defenders there trying to get scrambled to stop it. So overall, it was a great game. We did get an extra, instead of 4 minutes, 6 minutes. I didn't even know how long it was. It was just like, oh, we have 4 minutes. Okay, cool. Again, as you're there at the stadium, you only see 90, and then you don't see anything like that. But when I came back and watched the highlights on Apple TV, it said it went to 96 something seconds. And I was like, what the hell? They gave him 2 extra minutes and almost gave the game to a tie instead of a win for us. So what were your guys' thoughts on the match?
For me, it was, I like to call what McCarthy wore in goals as the green frog. He looks like a green frog. You know, he was jumping around a little bit. The whole green reminds me of a green tree frog here in Australia. With the second goal where he came out, to me, he did come out as a bit hesitant. He stepped out, went no wait, then he ran out. So if he ran out and took his first instinct straight away, I don't think we would have gone gold there. But, you know, it is a win. We hadn't had a hit out for a little while, but getting that hit out then helped us a lot. The 3 goals, we should have had more. That was plain simple. Like a couple of offside goals, and it's like, yeah, they're offside. But, you know, over the next couple of weeks, hopefully our players will get more and more used to knowing how far offside they can run and knowing where those lines and all that are. For me, it was a great hit out. The game changed when Portland did their triple sub. That's where it really changed a lot. And from there, it was just holding on. That was the biggest thing for me. Araceli, what about for you?
No, for me, definitely. It was not only McCarthy's performance, which I do agree with you, especially on the second goal. I think there was a little bit of hesitancy on his part, but in terms of like the roster, it was more or less of what I kind of predicted on our show last time, that we'd see the normal starting 11, because I know there was a lot of question marks of, are we going to see the new guys, which we did end up seeing towards kind of the end of the match, and kind of like how Portland, the tide kind of turned with Portland making their subs, the same with us after Tillman, Buke, and Long entered the game. But um I mean, just kind of, I do admit there are some highlights that I do need to rewatch, but based on what I can remember, there were definitely some chances where LAFC could have gotten some more goals, but unfortunately they were called offsides. But hey, that's just how the game goes, unfortunately. But I'm just glad to see that we were able to see our usual starting 11 and kind of answer some of those questions that we had.
Exactly, I agree with that. I do have to say though, after watching the game and all that, the foul on Opoku that gave us a penalty for Vela, that was, for me, it wasn't really a true foul because I don't think that he would have gotten the ball back if the player didn't take him out anyway. I think he did too much of a heavy touch back across the inside towards the goal, and he wasn't getting there anyway. The fact that the Portland defender left his leg out and clipped him, that was what gave us a penalty. But if his leg wasn't out like that, I don't see Opoku getting that ball back. So for me, that was a lucky break on ours. The Portland player was just too lazy, left his leg out, and that is why we got that penalty. But overall, I think it was a great first game for us. There are stuff to learn, but the fact that we scored from set pieces helps us a lot. It just shows that how much the team is improving week in, week out, year in, year out. Now, again,
I was gonna say something about the game before, so we can continue on this, because it's just the officiating on that game was just horrendous on both sides. There was calls that were supposed to be called fouls that were called not fouls, and then it was so inconsistent on 100% the whole time, because you couldn't go aggressive. There was one goal I know was taken away because of a Murillo foul where they pretty much bang bodies and it's just more of a bang play. But then you see one of the goals where Chiellini scores and it happens the same way, but you don't call that. That doesn't get called back, and that should have been a goal, and they were calling offsides. But again, the whole thing of VAR and everything. So the officiating at this game was one of course, top-notch pro is the best way to say this.
Yeah, I do agree with that 100%. You know, me, I like getting in depth with the referees and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it was one of the worst refereeing games it has been. But that being said, though, not knowing what type of ref we'll be getting later on this week for a CCL game, it might have been good to get used to such a poor refereeing experience. So that way that when we are playing later this week in Costa Rica, we already have that, how to deal with a poor referee. Because there are some refs out there that will turn around and go, I'm refereeing an MLS team. I don't like America. I'm going to be poor refereeing against them. There are stuff like that does happen. So to me, I sit there and go, having this poor referee now could help us for that game, knowing what we can do and what we can't do. But we'll move on to the player votes now. Again, this year we've brought back the Heart of LAFC MVP Player of the Year. To everyone that voted for this round, thank you all. There was a lot of votes that came in. So from the fans, there was actually 7 players that got votes. So Murillo got a vote, Hollingshead got a couple of votes, Ilie got a couple of votes, and Plasco got a couple of votes. But the top 3 from the fans for this week was in third place, getting 1 point, is Vela. In second place, getting 2 points, is Opoku. And the top for the fans was Chiellini. I got Joseph's votes before he flew out. He went 3 votes Chiellini, 2 votes Vela, 1 vote Opoku. For me, I've gone Chiellini, Opoku, and Ilie. For Ilie in the middle had a much better game than Vela, and Vela's goal came from a penalty that Opoku got for us. So that's why I put Ilie over Vela. Araceli, who did you vote for this week?
So my votes went to Chiellini, Hollingshead, and Mahala. Chiellini for the obvious of the opening goal. Also, too, with his goal at 38 years old. At 38 years, 202 days old, Chiellini is now the fifth oldest player to score an MLS goal, and it's the oldest at the time of his first league goal. So got to throw that fact out there real quick. But with Hollingshead, I mean, he was just kind of all over the place. He connected very well with the back line. There was two opportunities where he could have gotten an extra goal on the tally. But unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier, they were both called off sides. And Mahala, just for the simple fact of the finisher, I mean, that goal right there was just a pure beauty.
Good votes there. I do agree with that. Tony, how about you? Who are your three votes for?
Chiellini is my top with 3 because of A, the goal, and B, pretty much he controlled the defense. He commanded that defense. It wasn't until the 60th minute when the substitutions with Portland and also him coming off, like everything, you could see how, I guess, unseasoned most of our defenders are with someone not leading it. Again, we did bring in Aaron Long, but he's still new to the system. He's still new to our defense, so he's still learning what we need to do. So it was just more of a mess in the back once he left. So that would be my top 3. My second one would be actually, I'm going to say Acosta, because he was all over the field. He was playing really well, and he was getting banged up really early. It seemed like Portland was seeing that the ref wasn't calling anything, seeing that the officiating on the sideline weren't calling anything, so they were just going in, checking them the whole time, and almost pretty much getting him out for the season, making our midfielder even weaker than we were. And the last one, of course, is Opoku for his just drive the whole way. The beautiful goal that he scored, but just being there. And at this point, it's early to say, but kind of like we kind of don't need a number 9. I say we just need someone in the midfield, so we're okay for the moment.
That was actually the next question I was about to ask you guys. With the way that Opoku played that game, do we need that big name forward up front, or do we get that big name midfielder? It's one of the things where it's like Opoku is still young. Yes, you could learn from a big name forward, but at the same time, give him the chance and bring in a big name midfielder so that they can feed him the ball a lot better. You never know what he could come as. Would you guys agree with that, Tony?
I would agree. Like I said, I'm okay with the upper line again with Vela and Buanga. That's already a good veteran system to teach Opoku what he needs to do. Again, Bale is on a different level. When we had him, he's been in bigger games than Vela and Opoku. Champions League finals, now the World Cup as well, but he wasn't there. Of course, other big names, so it would be fine. I would want, if we are going for a striker, I would kind of want a 10 striker and not a 9 striker. So someone who can kind of fall back a little bit more and distribute a lot more. Like, I know Vela can do that, but he's primary striker than passer than some of the time. But so that's what I would want, is a number 10 who can pretty much distribute the ball, but when it comes time to score and he has the opportunity, he will score.
What about you, Araceli? Do you agree with both of us on that front?
No, I definitely agree with both of you. And going into this, that was kind of one of my questions was, do we need Chicho? Moving forward, are we going to miss him? Kind of very similar question to when Atuesta was traded off. Are we going to miss that piece? And I don't know if you want to necessarily call this a hot take, but I think, we're not going to miss Chicho. And I hope I correct in saying that moving forward in this season. But based on what I saw yesterday and based on what you two have already said, we already, we have a powerful front 3 with Vela, Bouanga, and Mahala, and definitely with the guidance of Vela, he can make Mahala and Bouanga better players than anyone else who could possibly join them up front.
Okay, so for your hot take to keep continuing on, we will miss Chicho. 100% we will miss Chicho. He was a fan favorite he, as same as Blessing, fan favorite, everyone loved him. He did do a lot for us. He never got the opportunity to be the main guy, and that's what he wants to be, is the main guy. The similar way to explain this is how Neymar left for PSG to become the guy. You know what I mean? Because he couldn't be the guy at Barcelona, and he went to PSG to be the guy. Chicho wanted to be the guy. He's getting older in age, and he understands that he can do that. He never got the opportunity to do it, so he wanted the money of getting paid more, and we couldn't do that. Unfortunately, now the Atuesta situation was a whole different situation and a whole nother level, because we've never had anyone to replace Atuesta until we had Ilie and Acosta, mostly Ilie, because what happened last season was we were lost in the midfield. We were putting defenders in midfielders. We were putting, Moon, unfortunately, in the midfield, even though that wasn't his primary role. He was a a striker, more of a defender, more Marcelo style, and we were putting him in defender, trying to find it out. So Atuesta, as a piece wise, he connected everything. Sifu wasn't Sifu at the moment, but Chicho and striker wise, we had Vela. When we got Chicho, Vela was hurt. You know what I mean? We were inconsistency in forwards and stuff like that. Now we have Bouanga, who can dribble, pass, do everything B-Rod did, but better and more veteran and more seasoned wise. Opoku is learning from it. Most of you saw who went to the game or saw on TV. He's leaner, he's quicker, he's a lot smarter. So yes, the depth when we need a grinder goal might be there when Chicho's gone, but unfortunately he's not going to be the same miss as was Atuesta, where we might need another season to find something like that, or half season.
No, absolutely. And that's what I kind of meant. And maybe I should have reworded it a little bit, was that if we would miss Chicho in the sense of, do we have anyone else to kind of fill that role up? Naturally, we have Vela, we have Bouanga, you have Mahala, but at the same time, it comes down to a question of experience as well. Because Vela, we've seen multiple times, like he'll score a goal. He has the ability to, but I definitely see him more in that leadership role than like a main striker, at least in my opinion. But I mean, of course, from like a fan perspective, of course we're going to miss Chicho. There's no doubt. I was just meaning that in the sense of, do we have that extra player to fill that role?
I think we do. Like I said, Bouanga's the person. You know what I mean? He does what Chicho does, but a little bit more on the aggressive side of getting through players and everything like that. Chicho was right there, then and there, trying to score goals when we needed it. And, I love him to death. But I feel with Bouanga, we have the replacement part. When we got him, we had the replacement part already to let him go. And that's why JT and the head office felt like, you know what, we can't pay you the money that you want. Let's send you to a club And we didn't just send him to any club. We sent him to, the reigning champions in La Liga to thrive and get the money that he deserves. So, with that, we already had that. Moving forward, we'll see what happens. Again, this is going to be a long season. On the highs of winning this, it's going to be a long season, and we need to not even worry about our forwards at this moment. We need to just worry about our defense. So that's the main issue that we have to worry about, because without Chiellini, we saw what happened in the last 30. They almost caught up. And Portland's known for that. Portland's known, like, no matter what their stars are or they're injured or anything like that, they're known to grind out a game. Because look what happened before they played us. Like, as Bam said before, how did they win that game? They literally came back and won that game because Portland is a grinder team. The same thing with Seattle. The same thing with any of the Cascadian Cups. And moving forward, we have to learn to close games down, because it's going to go back to 2017, 2018, where we're ahead, but here comes the 80th, 90th minute, and they're coming back, and we just tied the game or lost the game and lost points.
I agree 100%. Like, you don't want us falling back to the days of us where we're up 2-0, halftime, walk in, come out, completely different mindset as Tony almost falls over. Then then having that 90th, 91st minute equalizer / winner for the opposition, we don't want to fall into that again. With you guys, with the whole, are we going to miss Chicho? Yeah, we'll all miss him off the pitch. He's what he brought onto the pitch too and all that. But at the same time, I think we've covered him at the moment. We need to bring a couple more depth pieces in, ones that can fill in for the CCL games, the US Open Cup games, fill in for those ones. But other than that, I think we are quite well as it is. Now, although it's only been a couple of days since our last episode, has there been any more MLS next news yet, Araceli?
No new news.
That doesn't surprise me. It's been a couple of days. Now, with club and community, pretty sure we don't have any news coming up. I know there are. We do, Tony?
Yes, we do. So as most of you known, in the last couple of months and leading up to this, unfortunately, I've been everywhere, and with the move and everything, I keep forgetting to post on this. But we do have a Global Diplomatic is doing their second international away event, as the same thing we did with Lyon. So what they need is, like, if you go onto their Instagram on Global Diplomats, you can, well, they need your help. So, $10 gets, like, there's a little paywall to give it to them. Like, $10 gets them a pillow, $25 for bed sheets and bedding, $50 for bed frames, $100 for new mattresses. So that is still going on. It's like they are doing it to, like, pretty much the date they'll do it is March 8th. So to send in, have a QR code from Venmo for them to send it to that. Again, if you haven't, again, this is not a third world country or anything like that, but it's, it's very expensive to buy stuff like that. If you watch, like, in my spare time, like, I follow a guy named Murphy Life who goes to South America and gives out people who are struggling to just even find homes or mattresses. They're literally lying on, like, books, whatever they can find to sleep in and everything. So as bedding and sheets and covers and everything like that is a luxury, which we just see that it's like, oh, we have that, I don't need this. So if you have the money and you have the opportunity to do that, go to their website, go to their Instagram, show the Venmo, kind of use the Venmo to send the money for the bed sheets and everything like that, so we can give back because we're more fortunate. Like I said, we did this with Lyon and it went really well off. So let's do it again. And, hopefully this year we can continue doing it. And not unlike last time we were in the CCL and COVID hit us, we didn't get the opportunity to continue this streak. So let's hopefully continue this and move it on every CCL away day that we can.
Exactly, 100%. And Global Diplomatic do amazing work with not just outside of the US, but in the US and all that kind of stuff too. Hopefully we can keep this all going so we can keep pushing and showing that LA, especially LAFC fans, don't just care about LA, we care about the world, and we want to improve everything everywhere we go. Now, I have heard some talks that there is going to be some watch parties happening, but nothing's come out official yet for the people not going to Costa Rica. But when that does happen, we'll make sure that we'll post them onto all our socials and get all out there so you know which ones are close by to you and where they all are. Now, moving on to the next bit that we have, which would have to be the Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. For this one was a bit difficult. I'm sitting there going, we're going to Costa Rica. What music from Costa Rica do we know? After doing some little Google searches, I'll admit I did some Google searches on this, I found that there is a artist called Debbie Nova. Now, the reason why we've chosen her this time is that she did a song called One Rhythm. Now, that song, a remix of that song actually appeared on FIFA 05. So for all us gamers out there that played FIFA back in the past, all that kind of stuff, this week we're doing One Rhythm by Debbie Nova for our Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. So for those that don't know it, go check it out. It's actually not too bad. But for all those old school gamers that played FIFA, you've probably heard it at least once or twice during that game. Now we'll move on to our reactions to everyone that's in the feed with us here. We'll go through some of the reactions and get your thoughts on what's going on. So with it's Ghibli. Let the win streak begin. We already are in a win streak. We've 6 opening games, 6 wins, 6 home openers, 6 wins. So let's try and keep that rolling. We equaled, I think it was Columbus Crew that had that streak as well. It's Ghibli ready for Costa Rica and CCL. We all are. David Day's in the building. Hit that like button. Yes, please, everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe to us so we can try and keep pushing this all out so you can get up to date with all the news that's out there. Jose Bonera, hello there. How are you going today? Jose, again, it was awesome being back in the 30-52 stand. It looked amazing on TV. Hearing it on MLS Season Pass, hearing all that was great. Tony needs some coffee. Yeah, Tony's a bit tired today. Definitely needs some coffee. He has been moving, so we give him that. I would say go have a nice scotch, but I'll probably put him to sleep. We don't want that at the moment.
I'm not drinking. I gave up drinking for Lent. So no scotch, no alcohol, no nothing. Coffee is fine. I'll probably have one in a little bit and I'll step off to do it. But I am doing it till Easter, and then we'll see moving forward if I continue drinking onward, because kind of want to live a healthier life and, not destroy my liver as much.
Yes, game days can destroy the liver. That's definitely for sure. Jose, again, it was beautiful. I was part of the group that did the LFC crest on the field. That's awesome. Glad you got out to the field there.
You deserved it, man. Like I said, every SG got to sent out one of their people to help out with the crest and everything, and we picked the people who have been putting in the work, and this is more of a thank you. You know what I mean? There's not a lot we can give out, and it's like, if you do put in the work, I know tickets is one thing, but experiences like that, I want to push it, and this is why I say get involved, to get help out, because you get to experience stuff like what Jose just did, and be out there on the field for a special moment that you will cherish moving forward.
Exactly. It's the little things that count too. Like when you're in the stands, you go hard. People notice that kind of stuff. Tony notices that kind of stuff. Tony notices when you're going hard. He notices when you're not going hard. So make sure you go hard in the stands all the times, and you can get picked every now and then to go, hey, we need someone to go carry the 30-52 flag, the BA flag, the Expo flag out onto the field. Do you want to go do that? Those things are as a way of us saying thank you for going hard as you do in the stands. And also in there was seeing Bauer and Max walk out with a cup was amazing. Yep. And seeing Sujin and KC out with the shield as well, seeing them all walk out. So I'm sitting there going, hey, I know those guys. It's amazing. Seeing them on TV. They're famous now. David Davis, any insider news about charitable activity going to Costa Rica? Yeah, we covered that. Thank you for that, Tony. Ox is in the building. What's going on, Ox? Hope you're saying well out there. Jose coming in. I like the start team, but the last 30 minutes in the subs was down. Yeah, but you got to remember too, it's our first actual competitive game, 4 points and all that kind of stuff. There is going to be some rust there. The subs that came on aren't used to our system yet. They haven't had a full game in our system. So that's kind of stuff, you've got to go into it. Bale back and Chich on the Tifo, David Day. Yep, that was amazing too, seeing that kind of stuff. What comes in with Kira with the ring design, we did. Lawman and Trash Can with the W's up there, that is good. Jose agreeing the ref was horrible. Horrible is an understatement, I'd say. I think horrible is a nice way of putting it. Lawman was great to be back in black. It's always great to be back in black with a bit of AC/DC going on as well. Jose, the Tifo was amazing seeing it from the field. Seeing all the photos from the Tifo, again, everyone that helped out with that kind of stuff, you guys killed it. You did an amazing work. Danielle's in here. I saw Joseph had a chance to catch a fly ball, but bobbled it. Any comment on that? Tony?
Did you not see it? It was in the highlights. It's with the free kick where I think it was Vela or Costa on our side, and he kicked it and went directly to right to Joseph, and he blocked it, but he couldn't catch it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the gloves to do it, because as if you noticed in the newer gloves, you can tell the stickiness on everything. So he didn't have it, but he did block it as a good goalkeeper, and didn't let it pass. So he knocked it down and didn't have to do anything about it. Fortunately, didn't catch it, but it was a strong, hard ball, so it was good.
Exactly. I think he has to bring in some goalkeeping gloves next game, and so he can sit there and tell the opposition keeper how to actually stop goals going in. But, I'm not going to go too hard on him. I'm going to wait for him to come back, and we can grill him a bit more on that there and ask him why he didn't catch it. Lawman again, the tifo making me tear up. It was a beautiful tifo. David Day, blessing also on tifo would have been even sweeter touch. It could have been, but I think there's something special might be happening, hopefully to welcome him back when we play New England at some stage.
So I'll say on the tifo, we took the tifo from the picture of Vela holding the picture. So when you see Vela lifting the picture in the picture, when he's lifting it, you see Bouanga on the right and Chicho on the, they're on each other sides. I was kind of seeing it. So that's why the inspiration was it, because again, we could have done something, as some people, of course, on Twitter, because they're always going to talk to us like lackluster or anything like that. We didn't have to go. We went big, but we went in our own style to commemorate our players of winning the championship. And who are those people who carried us and helped us during it? Yes, McCarthy should have been on there. Unfortunately, he wasn't in the picture, but Chicho, game-winning goal against Carson to help us out. Bouanga, the pretty much the clincher goal to get us our community shields, and also goals to help us get into the finals. And, Vela being here the whole time, as it was said on the broadcast, the last original member from the original LAFC team left on the team. It was the perfect tifo to do it. Again, we could have done something like more creative and everything that we usually do, but sometimes simple is just right, and that was the perfect opportunity time. You know what I mean? It's what we've been working for the last 5 years. We're on season 6 now, and we can start at season 6 as the champions. And there's nothing more to do. Like I said, as most of you did, watching the pregame, watching the ring ceremony, and watching the highlights going through, you got chills every time everything happened. I got chills, even being on the Capo Sound, be like, "Ooh, I got chills," and I don't even understand why. Watching it again, so the tifo would have been a sweeter touch with blessing on it, or this person. But at that point, we're going to make the full picture of the tifo, and that takes a lot more time than we had, and a lot more work from a lot of people. When we see our former players getting at the ring, we'll do something for him. I think Blessing will probably get a video montage of thanking him for all his services. Actually, Araceli, what did they do for Blessing when he came back to SKC?
When he came back, it was just more or less of like a standing ovation. Nothing really special out of that, if I remember right.
See, so we'll see if we do. I know we usually do for important players. We do something for them really well, maybe a video montage and stuff like that. And again, Ibiaga and Escobar did help, but Blessing has been the heart and soul for the last 5 years. So I think we should, if we know our club and we know the people in the heads and everything like that, we're going to give them the right, send off.
Exactly, 100%. We never go half-assed with anything. We always go good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we have planned for that kind of stuff. We only got a couple more reactions. Daniel Day called it a defender, but he predicted Cheeky instead of Chiellini. Which player blocker do you think will score next? Oh, that is a good one. I'm going to go Hollingshead. He's due for a goal. He hasn't scored for a little bit now, but Hollingshead's due for a goal. Tony?
Backline, I'm going to say wild card Long. Hollingshead technically scored a goal, so that's why we already know he's going to go into one. Cheeky's capable of it, but if I'm going to go wild card and dark horse, it's going to be Long.
Araceli, who's your defending goal scorer?
I mean, even though Hollingshead technically scored a goal yesterday, I would still say him.
Exactly. We got Jose coming in with his votes, Chiellini, Villa, and Acosta. Exotic Killer asking why Tony didn't go to Costa Rica. Obviously moving.
Not just moving. I would have left my house like as a wrecked. I don't care, but passport. Couldn't get my passport in time, so unfortunately, fortunately for people at BA at our watch party that we will have and announce soon, and I'll post it on socials when everybody else has. You'll see me at the watch party leading the chants there, and I expect the same that I expect in the North End, except I allow phones at watch parties more than I don't in the North End.
Exactly. And we all know how great Tony is on a capo stand. So if you get to a watch party and he's there, you know he's going to be chanting. Dave Gomez, he agrees. Bonga's answer for the whole Chicho left. Shame he didn't score, but he will in Costa Rica. Hopefully he gets a nice little hat trick in Costa Rica. Dave Gomez again, a nervy win, but will take 3 points. Always take 3 points. Doesn't matter if you get it with a 92nd minute winner or a first minute goal and just park the bus. 3 points is 3 points. And we've got Marvin Chavez popping in saying, yo. All right, moving on to the next thing. We're going to do a preview of our upcoming CCL opponents. For that, we are playing a team out of, obviously, Costa Rica called LD Aljulinci. I'm going to say that. I butchered it completely, and Tony's hanging his head in shame how badly I butchered it. But, I try my best. The last 3 games, they've had 1 loss and 2 wins. Both their wins came at home, and the loss was away. The last game was a 4-0 win over Guadalupe FC. The highlights for that match that I found was Guadalupe had a player sent off in the 7th minute, and then in the 19th, you had Johan Vengas score a goal. 22nd minute was Rashir Parkins. 45th minute was Johan Vengas getting his brace, and the 52nd minute was Josma Elacia scoring a goal. All the stats and all that kind of stuff that go into that, I can't really find too much online. Trying to find highlights of the game, I go through YouTube rabbit holes trying to look at highlights of the game, and all you see is the live streamed of the FIFA version of it, and you sit there and you go, yeah, it's not really worth watching that kind of stuff. Going to all this, Araceli, what do you think our starting lineup would be for this game coming up?
Hoping that there wasn't any injuries from yesterday, I would be expecting kind of more of a similar lineup that we saw. We want to go in hard especially with all the experience. And given of what we saw in the subs yesterday, yes, they're still getting used to the system. But for me personally, I would not risk it this early.
100%. Like, if they're fit, I think they start. The only problem is we've got a short turnaround before we play New England when we get back. So looking at that kind of stuff, I can see maybe Chiellini not starting. I think the travel will be a lot too much there. So I expect Long to start for us. But other than that, I don't see many changes. What about you, Tony?
Chiellini for sure is taking a rest unless he's got the legs to do it and then we rest him against New England. Again, this next 2 weeks, this week and next week, are going to be very difficult, of course, because again, we play this Thursday in Costa Rica. We fly back, as most of you are also 32, 52 brethren are going to fly back for New England, and then we play Costa Rica again at home. And then we have to fly out to Seattle. So we're going to manage minutes for this one. Again, hopefully we don't take Costa Rica lightly, because in the CCL, you never know what could happen. All these teams are gunning for us. This is the biggest stage that they'll have at the moment against unfortunately, the biggest MLS team that you can play against. Because all eyes are in Latin America are on LAFC because of the players we have, the people we bring in, the attention that us as 32-52 bring as well. So I expect I expect a lot of managing minutes. If Chiellini's ready to go for this one, he'll go. If he's not, then he's resting, having a nice little vacay in Costa Rica for a little bit. Still training, but nice little, not as hard. The Vela, like I said, he came back raring to go, so he may start. Like I said, I don't see any changes from this past game. Maybe Chiellini is the only change that we do, and then we'll come to talk about what happens when we play New England if we kind of throw it out and try to play our best for just a point, or try to go for the 3 points, and hopefully we have enough goal off lead that when we go to play Costa Rica at home, we can kind of cruise to a little bit and get ready for Seattle the following Saturday.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that we're going to put out the best we can to start off with. Like the Costa Rican team we're playing, they are top of the ladder over there with 11 games played, 8 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. 31 goals scored for 8 goals against, so the plus 23 goal difference. They are killing it over there. I can see us sending out our strongest team for at least the first half that we can. Try and get the 3-4 goals in the first half. Then maybe send out some of the kids in the second half to hold that lead. Maybe cop 1 goal, if anything, and then have our best players, so the Vela, Opoku, Bouanga, all ready and raring to go on the Sunday when we play New England. So for me, I think Chiellini will be benched. To be fair, he might travel, maybe train a little bit, sit by the pool, have a couple of quiet drinks, then come back. I think he'll be more going there as a older head for a few young players, but I don't expect to see him. I doubt he'll even be on the bench. I'm going to throw it there. I don't think he'll be even named on the bench. I think he'll just go there as a mentoring role with a few of the young kids. That's what I predict. Other than that, with the Costa Rican side, finding out some more. They did in the last game, they did a triple sub in the 59th minute, then a double sub in the 69th minute. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. They used 5 subs over there. So, that's all we can really expect. Other than that, let's go back to the reaction, see what people have said. We've got Jonah B coming in here with, we got the win, but the second half was ugly. It was quite ugly second half, but, a win's a win. Marvin again, I think he's going for Long and Palencia to start. Yeah, I can see that. I think Long's definitely going to start. Palencia might be a halftime sub. What do you guys think about that?
I think Palencia probably starts, if anything. He's there for a reason. He's a young guy and he can work really well. Again, if it was later in the season, we can predict these a little bit better. But again, since it's start of the season, preseason was very light, and everyone's full strength and full stamina. I don't see any new changes. If this was a game midweek, mid-season, everything with also U.S. Open and the other cup evolved, then I see Palencia starting younger and everything like that. So, or we just start working, saving up our energy moving forward and seeing how far we can go. Because again, the club's focus right now, yes, is the MLS Cup, but their main focus is the CCL Cup. It's the Champions League Cup to get to the World Cup of clubs, or cup, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, words are hard. So that's our main focus. So hopefully we can, take this win and move forward, and get to the final and get the ultimate goal of CCL, and then after that, focus on the next hurdle, which is the U.S. Open Cup, and then the League Cup. I want the Supporters Shield, but I'm okay with not having it just because of the new playoff system where home field advantage is not the greatest. And you don't get the bye week, which would have helped this season, and then focus for the MLS Cup, and then see, like I said, this is all about seeing how many trophies we can pull this year.
Exactly. Like for me, I'd love the back-to-back Supporters Shield MLS Cup, but if we drop the Supporters Shield to win CCL, to win Leagues Cup, I would be okay with that. Araceli, do you think Palencia starts or not?
I could definitely see it as a possibility. And just as, Tony was mentioning with the MLS Cup and the supporters, there's no doubt that this season, and generally speaking, it's a very busy schedule with multiple tournaments. So I think it is very possible to see Long getting the start. I do agree with you both that Chiellini could go more in a leadership role if he's not on the bench at all. But again, I mean, it's a little bit hard to kind of predict because these are discussions that we would typically have, around maybe like 5 games in. But given that everything is coming so quickly, it's kind of a question, like who do you start? Who do you reserve? But I mean, as I said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I definitely do see Palencia and Long getting the start, if not being subbed in early.
Exactly. And we got Jose coming again with he reckons Clean will play the first 45 because it's the first time playing in Central America. Apparently, he mentioned that in his interview in the LG app. I can understand with that too, but would you want to risk it playing in Central America on what could be a dodgy pitch, or does he just want to play against a club so he'll save himself and play at BMO where it's going to be a lot smoother pitch?
I was gonna say I think he wants to play. To be honest, Chiellini is a gamemanship. You know what I mean? Chiellini is Chiellini for a reason, and he, unless his leg is totally broken and he's not 100%, he'll play. So maybe that's why he mentioned that in the interview. Because again, Dolo does have the final say, but there's a little bit more pull with players like that.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon that if Vela and Chiellini come out and say, I want to play, they'll play, they'll start. But it'll be interesting to see what actually does happen going into the game this week. I think that's going to do it for the comments all this week, and we're going to get into the final reactions from everyone here. So we'll start with...
I was going to say, before we go to final reactions, I kind of want to have a conversation. Have you guys, well, I don't know if it gets in Australia, but I know Araceli, how do you guys like the new LAFC app since the newest update has happened? Because I felt like before it was it looks prettier, not gonna lie, but it's a little bit harder to navigate because it's a lot has changed with like tickets and everything like that.
I have to admit, I have not seen the new update. I have just been so busy with everything MLS Next Pro related that I really have not had a chance to look at it. But based on what I've heard, they're the fans are seeming to love the new features. So I'll definitely make a point sometime this week to check it out.
Also, have you guys checked out the Kellen Acosta video that Apple has put out with his shoes and everything like that?
Not yet. I did see it there, and I'm going to watch it. I'll probably watch it a bit later tonight, but I haven't watched it yet. Going back to the LFC app thing, it does look a lot nicer. It doesn't seem as clunky and all that kind of stuff. So obviously we're making great steps there. It will be interesting to see how it bolds in 4 months' time, halfway through the season. There's I think that depending on how many people start using it, if it gets too flooded, will it slow down a little bit, that kind of stuff too. How many bugs will come out later on. But for me, to begin with, I think it looks great. The Kellen Acosta thing on Apple, I haven't watched it yet, but I do know it's there, and I am looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, it's a really good insight of what his future is, and actually it talks about how he wants to kind of start his fashion, his own fashion. He's very fashionable and into sneakers and stuff like that, and also maybe in the future moving into commentary and sports radio talk and stuff like that. And he actually mentions Max as one of his low-key heroes. So he explains more. I'm just giving you the notes, the quick little notes, the spark notes. So go catch it out. Like I said, the MLS app has been doing really well. wish I had time to watch the full game because I wanted to watch the full game, but the full game's not out. Just FYI, full game's not out until a couple days later where you can rewatch it. You can watch the highlights, but the full game's not out that I saw yet.
No, you can't watch the full game straight away.
No, I know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, all you got to do is when you go into it, go down the bottom, and then it will give you the options to watch just the highlights, either in English or either in Spanish.
That's just the highlights. Can I watch? How about the full game?
No, the full game. So the highlights is just in English, but you got the full game in English, full game in Spanish. It's all the way down the bottom. You've got to click on it to change the feed that you watch. But for me, the app's been amazing on that. There was one thing that I did want to mention to you guys. Tony, I don't think you might have seen it, but Araceli, did you happen to see anyone on the field missing anything from their jerseys?
Way to put me on the spot.
Huh?
Chiellini's jersey didn't have a star on it. He wore last season's jersey.
What?
If you go back and watch the game, it's when he's getting the ring presented to him. He doesn't have the star above the crest. He was wearing last season's jersey. You guys didn't see that?
Well, no, he wasn't wearing last season's jersey because if you see on his armband, it has the championship MLS patch on it. So he does have it. So, but that jersey may have not gotten a star on it, but it does have the patch. So he was technically wearing this year's jersey, but without a star.
Yeah, he was missing the star from it, which when I first saw it, I just automatically went, all right, it's last season's jersey. But yeah, just he was the only one I saw on the pitch that didn't have the star on the jersey.
Well, that's common though in the kits, like stuff like that. I've seen kits where they've like some jerseys for is the numbers are torn or like misdone or stuff like that, and it's like it's a thing.
The star is missing from Chiellini. Everyone else has it. What, did his just fall off while he was walking on the pitch?
Find that missing star, people. Find that missing star. That's hilarious. But yeah, that's a common thing of like sometimes like jerseys being like not done right or like misspelled names I've seen before of the players. So that's a common thing in like when it's a kid. Unfortunately, it's on the biggest stage when we're presenting our rings and everything and like presenting the trophy and our banner, but it's kind of a common thing around the world.
Oh yeah, like I looked at it as did you do it on purpose to say no, I'm the star, the star's not on me, I am the star, or what? Because there could be a superstition thing where to him he doesn't want to have the star on there. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes during this rest of the season whether he has a star. It could be a superstition thing.
Or to him, he only get a star if you win Champions League titles. And that's the only reason you get a star. Because remember, he's from Juventus. And you only technically get stars on jerseys if you've won Champions League. Or, you don't put stars. You got.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens with that kind of stuff. All right. With Tony slowly breaking up, I think we might hit the final thoughts for the day. So I'll start with Araceli. Your final thoughts for today?
My final thoughts are simple. LAFC is finally back. Already got the first win in the bag. And to anyone who's traveling down to Costa Rica, I am wishing you all safe travels. I cannot wait to see all the videos and photos from the game itself. Naturally, I wish I could be there with y'all, but just like with Tony, I'm having some problems with my passport as well. So unfortunately, couldn't make it, but hopefully next time around. And just so, as always, I'm always glad to come on here and chat with you guys, even though it's super late here, but worth it.
Yeah, so thank you again I know it's a bit late for you, but thank you again. Hopefully later on when the daylight savings kicks in for you guys, it'll be a lot easier to cut and not as late for you guys. Tony, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is have fun in Costa Rica. I know a lot of people are already there. Some people just skipped today's last night's game to go to Costa Rica. Some as Rose Joseph did, took a red eye to get there as soon as possible and enjoy the vacation. So have fun up there. Realize what the culture is there, and don't think that you're just because you're from America or the US, sorry, it's just exactly like that. They have their own culture, so follow their rules and obey them as best as you can. Again, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because of my passport. Maybe I should just start investing in my Mexican passport, since both my parents are from Mexico and I could be dual citizenship. So it's a little bit easier just to, hop the border and then go from Mexico to Costa Rica or wherever I need to go next. Put in the hard work, you guys. That's the best thing, is to put in the hard work in the stands, at setup, at anything. If there's an opportunity that you can do, put yourself out there. It's the least they can say is, oh no, we already have enough people, or we're like, okay, cool, this is what you need to do. And then you meet new people, you meet new friends, you get yourself out there and push yourself forward, and get cool little perks that you've earned, and move forward. And on top of that, stay safe. I'm gonna go grab some coffee and relax, because I have some cough drops that I need to take from yesterday's game, because we weren't at full capacity. Yes, I know some people were saying we weren't at full power, but I feel like that was the coldness, heatness, first game of the season, midday game, and we weren't ready. So like I said, coming up in Costa Rica, have fun out there. And against New England, I expect everyone to go full force who didn't go to Costa Rica.
Exactly. Couple of things I'll put up too is, here is the Global Diplomat banner. So if you can, jump onto our YouTube. I've got it up there too. We'll be putting it on all the socials. Donate what you can. Every dollar counts. Also, as well, just remember to look after each other. There's only give your friends a call. Check with everyone. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. This year, I'll be definitely pushing a lot of mental health stuff. Like, I've struggled with mental health in the past. I still have struggles every now and then. Tony has as well. Araceli most probably has as well. Everyone struggles in certain ways. So remember, you're all here. We're all family here. We look after each other. Do everything that you can. A phone call, a text message, a Discord. Jump in, play games with each other. Go out for a coffee. Go see a movie together. Just get that connection back and help each other out as much best we can. And you all know how we like to finish it off. So, Araceli, let's start with you.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
And from me to you guys, once again, thank you for coming. And remember, stay golden, LA.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.